Welcome to Graphing Linear Inequalities. We've learned to graph equations and lines. Now we're going to graph the inequalities. Let's start by looking at all of these inequalities and symbols and understanding what everything means. We'll start with y is less than x. Less than, you know, is this symbol. It means that all the values are below the left side. Now, before when we graphed it, or when we looked at a graph, we used an open circle to mean less than. Well, in this case, we're going to be looking at lines, so we can't use an open circle. What we use instead is a dashed line, like that. The dashed line means whatever's on that line is not included. Greater than means, or looks like this. It means something bigger, and again, we use an open circle. When we graph a line with it, we'll use a dashed line. Now for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, those are going to be the same symbols, but they include the values that they're being compared to. Normally we'd graph those with a solid circle, but when we graph linear inequalities, we're going to use, instead of a dashed line, we're going to use a solid line. A solid line means that the number you're comparing to is included as well, whereas a dashed line means it's not included. And with this, when we graph, there's one more thing we have to consider. Since greater than and less than include numbers that are greater than or less than what you're comparing to, there's not just one answer. There's a large variety of answers. So we can't just plot a point for every single one like we do on a number line. We have to show it all the values in between. So the way we do that is we either shade up or down. Now for less than, because those are all numbers that are going to be less than or smaller than, we're going to shade below. For greater than, because all those values are bigger than, we're going to shade above. Now if that's confusing to you, make sure you draw a little arrow. Shade below goes down, shade above goes up. It'll make sense here in a minute, but that's the direction we're going to shade. So when we graph, we're going to graph a line like we normally do. We're going to change the line. It's going to have to signal to us whether it's included or not by being either dashed or solid. And then we're going to shade. We're going to color the graph either above for greater than or below for less than. So let's take a look at the first example. Y is greater than negative 4x plus 1. And we may have to refer back to our notes at the top of your paper. But some of this is exactly the same as we've always done. In fact, you graph the line exactly the way you'd graph any line. So you're going to graph this just as you would y equals negative 4x plus 1. You still got your slope, you still got your y-intercept. So the slope is negative 4, the y-intercept is 1. That means our line should go that direction with a slope of negative 4, and if you remember, that's negative 4 over 1. Our starting point is 1, so I'm going to go ahead and put that point on there right now. Now, when we do actually graph it, now we have to pay attention to our symbols. We have greater than. That means it's a dashed line. Erase that. And since it's greater than is going to shade up. So let's draw our line, plot our points, negative 4, which means we're going to have a point there and right there, and then down here, down 4 more, and so forth. Make sure you plot all the points. It makes it a lot easier, especially here, because you're not going to do a straight line or a solid line. You're going to do a dashed line, and it's very important that you dash that line and do a decent job of it. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. I know sometimes it's not great, but do the best job that you can and try to get as close as you can. Okay, make sure it's obviously a dashed line. This is not a dashed line. Don't try to hide it on me. This isn't either. Draw a dash in there. Okay, next, it's greater than. That means it's going to be shaded above. Now, easiest way to do that is take any point, like the y-intercept. Above it is like right here. Below it is like right there. So if you can't tell, you're going to shade above it, which means you're going to shade this direction. Now notice I'm doing cross hatching. You can do more than that if you want to. If you want to color it in, there's some people who want to sit there and they want to spend the time and they want to color. You are absolutely fine doing that. However, that's a lot of work. I'm tired of doing it already. So I prefer to just do the cross-hatching. To me, it's a lot easier to do. And then finally, you see below there it says, if is 5, 5 a solution? Now this is very important. In this case, all of these points that you've shaded up here, those should be solutions. So that means if I take the point 5, 5, that's going to be right there. Is that shaded? Yes, it is. So that means it is a solution. Now the one way you check, again, we have y is greater than negative 4x plus 1. If we put a 5 and 5 in there, that gives us 5 is greater than negative 4 times 5 plus 1. So 5 is greater than negative 20 plus 1. 5 is greater than negative 19. And that is true. You don't have to go through all that work. If you graph it correctly, you can just look. If it's shaded, it's included. And all the ordered points, all the ordered pairs on the other side that are not shaded are not included. If we go back and look at the one before it, if we picked any point on the line, like the y-intercept of 1, 0, or 0, 1, that would not be a solution because it's not included, it's not on the line. Next, let's take a look at number 2. Y is greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 8. Again, graph like normal. The slope is 1/2. The y-intercept is negative 8. So I'm going to go down here to negative 8 and plot my point. A slope of 1/2 should go that way. So up 1 over 2 should look like this. You can see all my ordered pairs. I'm going to graph a couple more. Then the nice thing is it's greater than or equal to. That means it's a solid line. And greater than means shaded up. So I'm just going to plot my points. Connect them with a solid line. Shaded up, pretty obvious, I believe. It'll be like this. Which again means any of these points up in this area are solutions. So the question is 0, negative 8 a solution? And for that, we're going to take a look at that. 0, negative 8 is actually that point. It's a y-intercept. Now, in this case, it's yes, because that point, 0, negative 8, is on the line, and the line is included. So therefore, 0, 8 is a solution. For our next example, we have y is greater than or equal to x plus 2. So we'll go through the motions again. The slope is 1 because x is 1x. The y-intercept is 2. I'll go ahead and plot that point there now. This line, greater than or equal to, means it's a solid line. Greater than means it's shaded up. So I'm just going to graph x plus 2, plot all my points, make it easy to draw, especially when I have a solid line and don't have to dash it. There we go. Okay, greater than, so I have all my points there, greater than, shaded up. And now here, I'm not asking a specific point, but I want you to go through and we're going to look at it, and we're going to find two points that are solutions and 2 that aren't to get the hang of this. Remember, solutions are included or they're shaded. So any points, and you have a variety. I'm going to choose 0, 8 right here, and I'm going to choose negative 7, 4. Negative 7, 4 is right here. Now my non-solutions are the ones that are not shaded. So 0, 0 right here, not a solution, and 10, 3, not a solution. We can check each of those. I'm just going to check one real quick that's not a solution just to show you how. Let's do the 10, 3. If I put that in here, that's going to be 3 is greater than or equal to 10 plus 2. That means 3 is greater than or equal to 12, and that is not true. Therefore, that being non-shaded is correct. Finally, our last example, y is less than negative 4. Going through everything, the slope is 0. Remember, y equals a number has a slope of 0. X equals has a slope of undefined, and it looks like this. Okay, so the y-intercept is negative 4, which is right here. A slope of 0 means it's going to be a horizontal line. It is, the line itself is less than, which means it's dashed and shaded below. So I'm going to dash a line at -4, and I'm going to shade below. So finding some solutions. Solutions are anything that are included. So anything, the x can be anything. So let's go with 5. The y has to be less than -4. So let's go with 5, -12, and -3, -7. My solutions, x can be anything. 2, and then the y value has to be greater than -4. So y 2, 8, and -3, -3. All right, turn your paper over. I want you to try these 4. I've given you the graph. What I want you to do is go through and find the slope, the y-intercept, and then I want you to write a line or an equation, but I want you to look at the kind of line and which way it's shaded. I want you to try that first. Go ahead and pause the video. When you start the video back up, I'll go through the answers very quickly and you can check them. Did you start already without checking doing the work already? I lied. I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to put the answers up here. Now you can check your work. If you have any questions, please write them down. Come in next class, ask them. We're going to jump right into the next step with this. This is something at this point you should know. Very little added to it. We'll jump right into our next topic using this information. So if you have any questions, have them ready so you can get them answered. Have a nice day.